this leads to a question that, again, it might be similar to the Mike Sullivan question of, does that put him on the hot seat? Probably not, because of where the Penguins are as an organization. Do you think there's a world? Obviously, Yoey is reporting that the Penguins are concerned about Karlsson. Do you think there's a world where they try to shop him? Not that he gets traded, because I think that's an entirely different question. But do you think there's a world where the Penguins say, all right, let's kick the tires on this? Is there any interest in Erik Karlsson in the trade market?
I would have no doubt there would be interest. It's tough to say no to a 3-time Norris Trophy winner.
Not when he's playing like this, because I think a lot of Penguins fans would say no to it right now.
Right, but it's when you're an outside team with the cap space that can do it, maybe a growing team who needs the veteran presence in the room. Although, again, the Sharks didn't care much. That didn't matter much for the Sharks a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. But if it would on the surface, it's tough to say no to a 3-time Norris Trophy winner and the first defenseman to hit 100 points in a single season since Brian Leetch did it in the 90s. Mm-hmm. It's tough to say no to that. It's tough to say no to retaining on that contract if 2 teams start retaining. Mm. But the issue with it is, and maybe the Penguins consider making phone calls, especially if they realize, yep, we're not going anywhere. That's enough of this. Tear it to the studs. Karlsson's got to approve of this. And that is the hardest part. He has to pretty much, he's going to have to sign off on it. And it was hard for him to sign off on the first one because he wanted 2 teams. And I forget what exactly, obviously he got his wishes, but is he going to want to do that again? Is he going to want to go through all that again? What are his options now? That, what teams that he is willing to go to that he would absolutely sign off on, have room for him, or not only have room for him, fit him in and play him to where he wants to play. I'm not saying and also what are the Penguins going to get in return?
That all goes into like if they start doing it. But do you think from a overall level, do you think they end up doing that this season, kicking the tires, no matter what the case is, no matter Karlsson's no move clause, the fact that they're upside down on this investment, which means he's not worth the price you're paying for him. No matter all of that, do you think there's a world in which they actually start to kick the tires on trading Karlsson this year? Just point blank, forget all the outside stuff, forget trying to make the move, forget the fact that you're probably going to be in the Sharks situation where you might get something of value, but for the most part, you're not helping your team at all this year by making the move. Do you think that, forgetting all of that, they actually kick the tires on this move this year?
I don't think things would have to get drastic quickly. And also I feel like we wouldn't hear about it, but maybe Kyle Dubas does his due diligence and just seeing like what teams might have interest, and that's it. No more, no less. Just kind of here to see if you could fit them. That's it. That's all I'm here for. I'm not saying you're getting. I'm not saying this is a thing. I'm just saying, would you even be able to fit him in your lineup? But at the end of the day, during the season, no, I don't think. We'll see what the offseason brings.
I disagree. I think that the way that it's going right now, it's not something that we're going to see happen early in the season. I don't think it's something you see before the first of the year, but the way that this is trending, the Penguins are going to be selling at the deadline. Like the way that this is trending, Lars Eller is probably going to be a name that is talked about a lot in January, February, March. So too is probably Marcus Pettersson.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Marcus Pettersson.
I think if this name is floated out there to kind of counteract the point you put out there, it's too big of a name that Elliot Friedman's not going to fish it out, right? It is too big of a name that no matter, unless you're calling one team specifically, and that team respects your privacy, the privacy of the situation, if that name is put out there, we're going to hear about it, right? That is a big enough name to where it's going to create a buzz that is going to find its way to somebody who's going to break that story that the Penguins are shopping Erik Karlsson. But I think there is a world in which it gets to a point this season that he's struggling because, again, if they find him unlikely to improve, I certainly am not going to sit out here and say, especially defensively, that he's going to turn a corner. So I could see if the season continues to go in the trend that it's heading, I could see them saying, all right, what are our options here? And kind of starting that conversation.